Right guys, welcome back. This is episode 23 of Rail Car Restorers. As you'll see in this episode, there's going to be a little bit of painting, some more finishing jobs, and we're getting ever closer to reaching our goal of getting this out of the shed, and then we can start on the next project. So yeah, in this episode you're going to see me painting the buffer beam, a few other little touch-up jobs, a bit of corridor work from Johnny. But before we get into that, I'd like to say we'd like to say a few thank yous to some people who've donated. So Intercity126, thank you very much for your donation. It does go a long way. It can help us buy things like paint, any materials and bits and pieces we need, metal work to make corridors and bits and pieces. Roger G, who has donated, I think that was through Facebook, so thank you very much for that. It all does help and go a long way.
Yeah, and then RBHX7RD, thank you for your donation. Those donations will probably be put towards some of the new corridor components, which you will see, not in this episode, not in the next episode, but the episode after, where we will hopefully be we will be fitting that corridor. It's the last big job for us to do. So when it comes to it, we'll go over those components that you've basically enabled us to get, because I had to go to China for some of them, as I mentioned in the previous video. But yeah, so thank you very much for them. It all does help, and you know, if we can keep them coming, that'd be greatly appreciated, because I've got a whole another one of these to do, all the metal work to go in it, all the paint on the inside, outside, you know, consumables, although we try and keep them away from consumables, and we try to keep them things that you can see, because we feel that's a nice way of saying thank you. You can say I was partly responsible for that. So yeah, and on top of that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the bump stops, because we fitted them now. So yeah, but it should be a bit of an exciting episode. Got a bit of a fabrication nightmare, and we're going to get this gutter welded together, which will be really nice as well. So yeah, I think what we're going to do is going to go straight into a little time lapse of that gutter, and then I'm going to take you through what's probably going to be a bit of a painful bit of fabrication work, but massively vital for the corridor. So yeah, let's get on with that, and I hope you enjoy the video. So here we are now on doing a bit of the corridor stuff. Due to trying to source like a fabricator to make this, we haven't got the actual original piece. Not to mention that the original piece is now in two parts, so I'm now going to have to improvise, adapt, and hopefully overcome. So I got a ring out of the tarpaulin, the actual curtain part of it really, and that's the bit that moves. So these rings keep it all in the shape that we want it. So we're not using that because it's had it. So I just cut one of these out. That should give me a rough shape, because obviously the curtain has to conform to the same shape as the top. So this should give me something to aim for. Then once I get to this, then it'll be up a ladder, look at it, down a ladder, look at it. So what I'm going to do, due to the two leg lengths being extremely difficult to get made in some angle iron, I'm going to bend the longer leg. This is 70mm, so I've cut some 3mm plate into a 70mm strip, then marked out my curve. So from this whole bit should be a nice even curve, and then these two, looking at it, should also be an even curve, but there'll be a tighter even curve. So kind of it's a variable radius. So what you're going to see me do now, you're going to see me bend this, and then once I've bent it, I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut the 40 leg, the 40mm leg, and then how we're going to fabricate it. Hopefully it should work. I know this is rusty, it's been in storage for a while. I'm going to bend it first, and then we'll remove the rust. So yeah, let's go on with that. So there you have it. We've bent this on quite a wobbly table, but yeah, so she's the right shape now. I've just done a test fitment on the back, basically to try and get it in the right position. And what I've found out is that needs to be cut here,
and here, but that was my excess. So absolutely fine with that. I also found it was 50mm too wide, so obviously these are slightly wider. These corridor hoops are slightly wider. So what I've done, mark the middle point, and then I'll just cut out 50mm here, and then put them back together, weld them, grind them, get the curve back to the right place. Then I'll test fit it again, and then all going well, I'm going to take you on to the next step, which is making the other leg of this angle line. So yeah, let's get on with that. So we are now here, now that you've seen this get welded together. You know, just had to take a little bit of extra material out of it. It now has been cut to size. And you might be wondering, what's this? This is the way in which I'm going to make the 40mm section of the angle line. So you simply put up your aforementioned piece like that, and for my own peace of mind and comfort, I'm going to add a reference mark so that when I come, because obviously if I had a bigger bit of steel, I'd mark out the whole thing, cut the whole thing out, but I don't. This is all I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bit out. You're going to see me cut that bit out, and then with these extra offcuts, I'm going to keep moving and moving and moving them, weld the offcuts together, and then cut out the next bit of the curve. And so yeah, you're going to see this bit get cut out, and then I will next see you after I've done all the finicky bits of, you know, just taking this offcut that comes in, putting it underneath here, drawing, welding, then drawing a line on. You get the gist. So yeah, you'll see a bit of this, you know, give you an idea. This is the biggest piece, and then with these offcuts to come off the end, it'll be kind of building it back to where we're here, and then we should have, when I next see you, one nice section of curved metal that'll be ready to weld to this. So here we are. We have now, as you can see, we've got the rough shape, you know, there. Distance is about 40mm, a little bit over in places, but that's fine because when these come together, we'll do a bit of smoothing. You'll never know it's there. Obviously, like everything, you will because you've seen it. So you'll probably be able to do your best to spot the weld seams, although you're not really going to be spotting this one unless you're flying a helicopter. So what we're going to do now is going to come along and we're going to weld these in their respective places, weld them fully, get it ground flat. Then we are probably going to just take a flap disc over this metal because it's quite rusty because it's been in storage for a while. Then you probably won't see that get cleaned up, but it does need cleaning up, so we will. So yeah, we'll grind these welds down, you see that, and then it's very simply a case of making sure you get this right, and you put it on there like that. So it's one of those magic moments where I wish I could click my fingers and make it all happen at once, but I can't. Yeah, so you get it on there, and basically then what we will do is we will weld it. We'll weld it from the back first, because with this, warpage is a real issue that could happen. So weld it from the back first. Obviously get loads of tacks on it, stop it moving around, get it back first, and then you know, get a good bit of clamping, and then come round and we will weld this front edge as well, and then I will come along with a grinder, either on time lapse or off time lapse, and I will come along and I will radius the whole weld along this. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of fun. So yeah, that is what you're going to see now.
Right, so here we are with the corridor. As you can see, all welded up, all nice. Couple of details with this is that now next steps for it are to radius this corner, radius this corner. If you can get your settings right in your welder, you really help yourself out later on. Obviously, being an inside corner needs to be a bit hotter, and then you can get more of a concave weld rather than a convex weld. And obviously, when you're radiusing it concave kind of thing. So get the welder to do a bit of the work for you. Didn't have a big enough, strong enough metal plate to mount this to stop the warpage. So we've burnt a very neat line in a bit of wood, but the wood was rigid enough for what we needed. And looking down it, she is pretty flat, no obvious undulations looking down it, which is really nice because obviously this is going to be clamped to the unit. Obviously the body side isn't perfectly flat because it's like 70 years old. So, but it does flex a little bit, so that'll be nice because this is going to have a bead of mastic put on the inside edge here. And we want that to squeeze out nicely. So having it, if we can start with this flatter surface here, we've obviously got a relatively flat surface up on the unit because that area didn't see any kind of impacts, warpage. It's all very close to framework. It's all kind of being clamped true and flat its whole life. So we should get a nice even seal, nice even pressure on the mastic when we come to bolt this. So yeah, the next thing for this is to get these welds radiused. Then we will tack it onto the uprights while they're in situ. Obviously, we'll get this in exactly the right position. Any little, failing work needs to be done, like this leg just needs to be met with this leg. It's a custom made part. The only way you're going to get it to fit is get it up there, go, right, I need to shim this a little bit, you need a little gap here, a little angle here, because obviously it's custom made. And then also we can drill the holes out in it, because there's a couple of holes. I think there's 4 or 5 holes dotted around here on this mounting section. So yeah, but that's all going to be done off camera. The next time you'll see this will be when we come to do the bottom, because we're already, we've got it off, we've cut the bottom off, we've cut the top off. So we'll get them both done, nicely, because if you're going to do a job, do it properly or kind of not at all really. So yeah, that's the next steps for this, and then next time you'll see it will be after it's been painted and everything. So that would be really nice. So yeah, that is that really. And considering the tools we've got here, or lack of tools that we've got here, I think it's come out quite nice, Once I've taken a bit of a, grinder and a bit of paint to it, I think if you hadn't watched this video, you'd never know. So yeah, that is always our aim, to make it look as original as possible, where possible. So yeah, that is that, and we'll get on with the next part of the video. So, what you're going to see now is, obviously we are currently in holding coat, and it looks quite nice, but it could be better, and it will be better. So with this side's a little bit worse than the other side because practice. If you've never painted a DMU before, or any other heritage vehicle for that matter, whether it be on the road or on the rails, it takes practice. Don't expect to get a perfect finish first time round. Kind of the good thing about us doing holding coat is that Michael has now painted 128 feet of vehicle, and this was like foot 1, so it's some of the worst paint really on this DMU, but it's not bad. So we're going to come along with the sander, sand it down, and then he's going to go and put holding coat number 2 on, which is going to be a holding coat that really should increase the depth of this paint, as well as also definitely protect it outside for the few years it's going to be out there, while hopefully
we get our next unit in, and that we do this to that one, and a lot more work in that one. So if you're thinking about subscribing and you want to see a bit more, then we've got it all to come. Trust us. Project Lazarus, as she will be known. So that's what you're going to see now. A little update is these bump stops. This one hasn't quite gotten on yet, but these bump stops have now all been done, and they've now all been refitted. If you have come across some dodgy repairs in your time of removing these and re-rubbering them, if you so wish to do so, we found something quite good. Get yourself an M6 tap and drill set, and even if the screws don't budge, if you just try and drill them out, you will get pretty much close enough. And then what you can do is, if you drill out a hole, if the bolt is that stuck, then when you run a tap through it, you'll just tap the steel bolt as well as the aluminium. So that's the solution we found for some of these more sticky doors, but we found a good bit of penetrant as well as just pretty much ooga-doogers. Get yourself the right impact bit. If you can get an impact bit that perfectly fills up the screw, do that, because we tried with a smaller one that was impact rated, and it just kind of, well, drilled a hole. And then we came back along with a larger bit that fit a lot better. It wasn't impact rated, so we went through 10 of them across the course of this unit. That's how stubborn some of these can be. But even the ones that we'd kind of rounded out, because we got that proper fitment on there, we were able to apply more torque more successfully and actually break a few loose. So, but on the ones that haven't broken loose, like this was one, but you'd never be able to tell. We basically drill out what is there. If you're lucky, you go to drill it out and it will just unthread itself out the back. We got lucky with, I think, 2 doors on that. So that's just for the doors. As far as like here, pretty inaccessible to get behind here. So this is the only bump stop that's yet to be fixed. But by the end of this episode, that would have been fixed off camera. It's just getting in there, because in this case, both screws are awkwardly behind framework from this perspective, so we can't get to them. But we have also, that red rubber grease that I mentioned in the last episode, we have now gone around and we have, well, given a pretty liberal coating of that. You can see here it's squeezed out. That will be trimmed. That will then have panel white before obviously the painting takes place, because obviously you can't paint over grease. Although many people try to do that with hinges. It's not a good thing. But that's basically what you're going to see now, is you're going to see this get sanded down. You're going to see the cab get sanded down. You're going to see the backs get sanded down. You get the idea. You're going to see it all get sanded down and then all get painted. So I don't know how we do this. So yeah, you're going to see it all get sanded down, probably do like a 360 and then 360 of paint. So hopefully it'll be a good 2-minute time lapse. But also you might be able to see that head code. You probably would have seen in the last episode at the very end of the video, where I always put the latest photo of the unit at the time of like filming. They're kind of like progress pictures. If you stay to the end, then you get to see all how it's been affected across the entire unit. You'll see that head code is now in there. Obviously, you know, donations really help. So if you want to like donate a £5 and put in the comment what head code you want, then we will have that head code in the end of the next video or in the thumbnail. We'll probably keep it in the thumbnail and at the end of that video. Obviously on that first come, first served kind of, maybe we might get a lot of requests, but any head code, doesn't matter how silly it is, because obviously these are a money pit. So yeah, if you want your impact to be seen all across the world on YouTube, then you can request a head code and we will put it in on whatever order that you've requested. We'll put it in the next video, or if somebody's, you get the idea. We will put it in the order that they're requested. So if you want to support us, that's a nice way of supporting us. So we will change that. At the moment, I've put some torches in the back to give it a bit of backlighting, so it kind of looks what it should look like. And hopefully I'll get a nice dusk shot for the last video, which you would have seen by now anyway. But yeah, so that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a nice, like probably minute, 2 minutes of just sanding an entire unit and painting an entire unit. So if you like satisfying things, then stick around for that. And then we will get into whatever else is going to be in this video. So yeah, that's what you're going to see. Hope you enjoy the video. Let's get to it.
Right guys, so the exhausting task of painting this unit is now complete. So as you can see behind, a nice shiny blue DMU, just waiting its weather strips and the door jambs and some door lock fettling, and yeah, she's really on her way to basically being complete as far as outside aesthetics and being watertight. So we've come a long way with this thing, but yeah, she's definitely a lot better for it now.
Yeah, and on this side you would have seen in that time lapse the level at which we had to take it back, and that is, yeah, again, we live and we learn, and that was because on this side we took a bit more of a relaxed approach to sanding in between each coat and not sanding as thoroughly as we should have. So, you know, if you're out there, take the time to do what many people would call quite a boring task. But yeah, but this is now in a second coat. You saw the first coat of this go on, but due to time we've got to come along and basically sand it all again to put the second coat on, but we didn't film that. So this is the second coat, but I've just shown you the first one because we've taken months and months to do this, because it is one of those jobs, like I say, you need to spend the time sanding it, you need to spend the time doing it properly and doing it once. Not to mention we have been working in the background on a future video that should be coming out relatively soon, and that has diverted some of our attention, so apologies for a little bit of that delay in the videos, but we've nearly got the next video on this filmed anyway, so it should be back up to normal with some exciting different content, hopefully. So yeah, but we just have a lot of things on our plate, so this did take a bit of a backseat, but we've started. We did a bit of that corridor as well this episode. We'll do a bit more of that corridor next episode, and you'll see little things like those drop lights being done as well, because they have been, you know, a bit of a time order disorder. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you managed to get some value out of this video if you've got a corridor that needs some extensive work done to it, or you want to paint anything. So yeah, we also would just like to say thank you as well again for some of those donations that have come in. They've really helped with some of the corridor components that you'll see in the next episode and the episodes after that. So thank you very much to them. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in some very exciting videos coming up very shortly.